Doma Sports Talk, worldwide, with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now let's move up to the heavyweights. We got some pretty good news in the heavyweight division, featuring your boy Dillian Whyte and Dominic Breazeale. And the information is this. WBC has ordered that fight between Breazeale and Dillian Whyte, and it's a pretty good fight. Both of these guys only lost one time, and it's to Anthony Joshua in round 7. So it's a pretty good fight for that aspect. You had Dominic Breazeale, who's the mandatory for the WBC, which would be the champion Deontay Wilder. Been there for a while, since November the 17th. But those big fights were going on. The negotiation with Anthony Joshua, then the Tyson Fury fight. So he's been there, and actually him and Dillian Whyte could have fought last year. Dillian really didn't want it for whatever. It didn't happen at that particular time because Dillian Whyte was the number 2 and he was the number 1. So Dillian Whyte's title is the WBC Silver Champ, right, and the International Champ, and they're fighting for the interim title, right? Isn't that a lot of different titles? It's not the real title. Basically, this fight is the number 1 dude versus the number 2 dude, right? And it's arguably because Luis Ortiz is in there, right? Actually, 2. But let these guys fight. It's not a bad fight. It could have just happened a few months back. That's all. But at the end of the day, I think it's cool, especially from Dominic Breazeale, to say, well, even though I'm number 1, let me fight number 2 so there is no discrepancies. He's been saying this for a while, so you got to give Breazeale that. I think, speaking of Breazeale, that the fight is also a good one because, after just beating Molina and Negron, I think, that's not enough to really just be that mandatory where, the WBC champ has to fight you no matter what. I think the name Dillian Whyte on his resume will resonate a little more, and I think that's a good fight for him. You know what I mean? And, Dominic Breazeale, no matter what you think, he probably lost to Anthony Joshua, which I think that was Anthony Joshua's probably second best win to break this guy down, because Dominic Breazeale is not easy to beat, to take care of Amir Mansour, and Ugano, was undefeated. Ugano, the Polish brother from Nigeria, not an easy guy to beat. Breazeale's been handling his business. He's probably not the fastest and athletic guy in the world, but he can take some punch. His punch resistance is that of his size, about 6'7", 260 pounds. He can take a wallop, and then he's bringing something back. Slowly, but it's coming eventually, right? And he'll break you down. So Anthony Joshua was the only one able to take care of this guy, so be careful. As far as Dillian Whyte goes, right, we know who he could have fought. He could have fought Ortiz, and he could have, after that, fighting Deontay Wilder. He could have fought Dominic Breazeale last year, didn't do that. Could have fought Kubrat Pulev, he would have been the mandatory. So, he fought Joseph Parker, which was great, right? But that Chisora fight could have been replaced with Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz, and he would probably be already in line to fight Joshua after that. England would have said, hey, you beat Ortiz, you're the man. They would have demanded it, and maybe the negotiation would have went different with Anthony Joshua. Whatever. All of those things didn't happen, right? And both of these guys have only lost one time. Both are formidable. So there's really not too much bad to say about the fight. Let it happen. I think it's a pretty decent fight, and there's some clarity there. Of course, I would have to mention Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz. I would like to hear someone say his name, right? No matter what, whoever you are at the top, because not only is your boy Dillian Whyte, we know what happened with Ortiz when it comes to Dillian Whyte. We just documented in one of my latest videos. But Dominic Breazeale, I haven't really heard him mention him either. Then we know the other guys, the Anthony Joshuas, the Kubrat Pulevs, Joseph Parker, whoever. You just don't hear Ortiz's name, and that's the only thing I would have to say about this. Is somebody, one of the main guys, call this guy out, right? Because he's formidable and he's up there. Everyone knows it. But other than that, hey, let's see when the fight's going to happen. They have until, I think, March 19th to come to terms, agree. If not, it's going to go to purse bid. So let's see what's happening, man. Dominic Breazeale and Dillian Whyte, no matter what we say and how the fight has happened, let's make sure this is clear. This is going to be a good fight here, right? And this heavyweight's going at it, and once beaten. So, after that, they probably will get a title shot. So they're going to put all into this fight. So you can't really ask too much more for that than that. So let's just enjoy that fight. Doma Sports Talk, worldwide. And I'm about to hear y'all.